talking some more I Know What You Did Last Summer on Amazon Prime Video. We're already up to episode 5 because they dropped the first 4 episodes last Friday. We're already deep into the story, especially after the cliffhanger ending in episode 4 with the deaths of Dale and Officer Cruz. There's quite a bit to unpack in this episode. Obviously, the town is reeling after multiple people start dropping dead and they can't figure out who's the culprit. But we do very much lean into a person of interest in this episode for us to investigate, which is Claire Weathers, who we have seen a little bit in the first 4 episodes. She's that crazy lady that we've kind of seen in the periphery. I mean, from the limited suspects we do have in this town, she is a very obvious suspect. She is very scary. Her family was part of that cult that we've kind of mentioned in passing here or there in the last couple episodes. She even goes and scares Dylan when he goes back into the cave, and she says these very creepy, cryptic messages to him. Now, every town has to have some sort of really creepy individual that most of the time is a red herring, and in this case, it seems like it is a red herring. It did lead to some of the most fun stuff in the episode when they go to investigate all of her stuff to just try and find some clues to see if she actually is the killer. Especially with the details that we do end up learning about her character, she actually factors into the grand scheme of things when it comes to the overall storyline a little bit more than I thought, just because I thought she was going to be like a throwaway character that really didn't amount to much, but she actually is quite important since we learn her link to the story once we delve a bit more into Lennon and Allison's dad in this episode. This episode being the episode where we get the POV from Lennon's dad's perspective when it comes to the night the incident occurred, because we find out that Lennon knows this big secret that he's been keeping from everyone and he's threatening to tell Allison about it. And he gets so mad at her, he kicks her out of the car and leaves her on the side of the road and drives off, and that's pretty much where we last see her because that's where she ends up inevitably dying. I'm gonna be honest, the dad has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way in these first 4 episodes, and this episode is no different here. He's definitely high up on my suspects who I personally think could potentially be the killer. I just don't know necessarily what his motivations could be, but you know, we still have a couple episodes left. We'll get there when we get there. But like I just said, the most fun that comes from this episode is all of them sneaking into Claire's stuff so they can try and find anything to piece her to being the killer. She just has so many scary, spooky things scattered around all these various different environments, gross tools, bees, a machete, just all around fun things to conjure up some scares, especially in this episode of the jump scare variety. There are quite a bit of jump scares in this episode, which if you're not a fan of jump scares, you're not going to like them. I'm usually not a big fan of jump scares, I will be honest, but 1 or 2 of them did get me in this episode. I do hate that they commit one of the cardinal sins when it comes to horror, and it's the fact that they all split up, and even some of them realize just how ridiculous that kind of is, but you gotta do it. You know, it's a slasher. You gotta do it. I know. I do like that we're playing around with the idea that everyone is finally becoming suspicious of the fact that Lennon is not really Lennon, especially Margot. Margot is the most suspicious of them all. With their past history between Allison and Margot, I do wonder just how long this charade is going to go on before they realize that she's not actually who she says she is when it comes to the sisters, but we don't figure it out by the end of this episode at least, so the mystery is still going to linger on at least for another episode or 2. As far as the mystery aspect goes, when it comes to finding out clues to who potentially the killer could be, we do get some pretty good ones in this episode. For example, we find out that the spiders that we saw not that long ago on that head are actually from the Arctic. Then Margot and Dylan stumble upon the container that has all of them and all of Claire's stuff, but bad timing since Claire returns home after being interrogated by the police, and she is not very happy. I suppose I should have mentioned the interrogation stuff earlier on by the police, but it really didn't amount to all that much. We kind of just find out some really gross details when it comes to some of these people subscribing to Lennon's OnlyFans. Otherwise, they pretty much seem in the clear when it comes to the law enforcement aspect of the investigation. The big juicy revelation we find out when it comes to the info they learn while they're investigating all of Claire's stuff is Lennon finds all these photos of her dad with Claire Weathers that seem sort of romantically inclined. I'm not sure if it means that he was in the cult at one point in time or just they had a romantic fling. It doesn't look good for him, my man. I'm pretty sorry. Like, you look suspicious beforehand, but you definitely look even more suspicious though after this. There is some solid tension though as Claire is trying to hunt down all of them as they try to escape. Inevitably they do end up all getting away, but we do see someone grab a machete and then it cuts to another scene entirely. I'm very intrigued with the fallout of this episode and what's to come in next week's episode, because we do see that fake Lennon realizes the truth. She's not very happy with her dad, as she shouldn't be, and she goes and stays with Margot. Margot is very suspicious of this fake Lennon, so we're like, it's a ticking time bomb at this point, everything in this season. We end off the episode going back to the machete. We go back to Claire Weathers' place and see blood everywhere, and we hear Claire dying off screen. At least it seems like she's dying. I don't want to kill her off right away and say RIP or anything, but it's not looking good. I imagine she'll probably be dead in the next episode. I don't know, but you know, there's a lot of blood, there's a machete, I imagine somebody did it, I don't know who, but that's part of the fun mystery. Who is the one that is someone is staying in this place, breeding these spiders from the Arctic, and also killing people out of this crazy back portion of Claire's house? Just because of that link between Claire Weathers and Lennon Allison's dad, I do just, like, he's my highest suspect. I mean, there could be other people, of course, involved, it could be more than one person, but Lennon and Allison's dad is my prime suspect, at least for now. But make sure you share your thoughts down below. What did you think of this new episode of I Know What You Did Last Summer Summer episode 5. Did you like the episode, not like the episode? Also, share all your thoughts and theories on what's to come. Where do you think is going to lead with all these different storylines, especially who do you think the killer is, because that is, of course, the big mystery at hand here. Regardless, it's going to be a lot of fun speculating for the next couple weeks because we only have a couple episodes left, surprisingly. As always, thank you guys so much for checking my reviews, but I really appreciate it. Make sure to like on the video and also subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. Until next time, though, I'll see you guys later.